I'm sorry, I apologize. I've just always kind of wanted to say that since starting to review this series. Yeah. Sisterly issues, death revelations, and some high belting singing choir play on pitch perfect movie but with witches kind of stuff going on. So let's get right into it. Charmed, episode 11, Witch Perfect. Hey y'all, it's your Twisted Girl next door here, and today I'm doing a review and breakdown of Charmed, episode 11, Witch Perfect. So if you're new here, the way this goes is that I give an overall feeling of what I thought about the episode, the happenings that went on, and how I thought about that, my ship talk, because you know I love talking about ships, y'all. Relationships. Oh yeah. And then my favorite line of the episode. So let's get right into it because a lot of stuff went down in this episode. Overall, I thought it was a good episode. I mean, you know, one of the things about this one, I'm not going to call it filler because it seems one of the great things about this show is that at the end of every episode, something is revealed and you kind of get more and more closer into the journey of whatever. I think we're building up to something really huge when it comes to this season, and I don't know what it is. They always keep taking us in totally unexpected directions, and I'm so here for it. And this episode definitely had its revelations, but overall, it was sort of an episode where the big bad in this episode, the maestro of sirens, wasn't necessarily connected to the overall plot, but within that plot, as we saw with the sisters going through stuff and Macy trying to find her way and trying to figure out a way to kind of get her point across, things were revealed in the sense of individual plot lines, which I really thought was pretty cool. Maestro of Sirens. So I really dug this. I mean, it was a really cute plot line in the sense of, kind of a play on Pitch Perfect, which I've never actually seen before. Don't judge me too hard. I do like singing stuff. I love musicals and things like that. Theater kid here. So I dug it. I love the fact that Maggie was singing. It was a kind of a cute thing with a darker undertone going on, which this show does a really good job of kind of balancing the sweet, nice, wholesome moments with like a demon devil type thing going on. And this was no different. It was a very cool opening with the maestro, Mr. Miranda, playing the harmonica or whatever that thing was. Oh my gosh, guys, I was in band. I swear. I just didn't play whatever that instrument was. So yeah, that was cool. It kind of like got into your ears and you're kind of wondering what exactly is this demon? And one of the things that I like about this show is that they play on folklore in a very cool way. I'm a big nerd when it comes to myths and legends and stuff. So I loved that we kind of got into the whole siren thing. Sirens has kind of been my jam. I got a few reviews on some shows that kind of play on the whole siren, evil mermaid type of thing. And I like that the show did that this time as well, but in a different kind of way. It was a good baddie, and one of the other things I liked about this was that we got Lucy back. I really like the Lucy character. I think one of the great things about this character is that they've subverted that trope of her kind of being the, the mean girl, and it could have been a thing where her and Maggie would be going at it the whole season, and that, she wouldn't like her. Maybe eventually they become friends, or, somehow something would just happen to her and she'd just kind of be fodder. And I really enjoyed the fact that Maggie and Lucy have a really strong relationship, a really strong kind of friendship that's funny at times, and not even like in a comedy relief, oh, there's Lucy, but like, she actually contributes to the plot line when she talks and she's a part of things. And I just really like the actress's portrayal of the Lucy character. Like, she's not obnoxious, and I really dug that she was back, and I liked the fact that they were all singing together. And oh my gosh, she knew how to go after that solo. When she said, oh, where's Effie? And then she stepped up and started singing the song, I honestly laughed out loud. I love that. I love those kind of moments, and I think the Lucy character brings that, and I really like her relationship with Maggie. So if nothing else, we kind of got them kind of rebonding together, which I like, that we're moving on from that whole Parker situation that was kind of tearing them apart. The Circana and Nico. Okay, so we got a little bit more into the Circana and what they do. And let me just say, once again, I am totally feeling the Circana way more than I'm feeling the elders. And that continues to be a thing. I mean, at least the Circana are like using their powers to really help out the world. I mean, the whole thing with, getting that guy, I mean, which was honestly straight out of the headlines. The fact that the guy wasn't put away for, rape or whatnot because, the judge didn't want to mess with his career. I totally know that was a nod to a real life story that occurred recently, which is one of the other things I like about this show, that I don't want to call it woke because woke is such an overdone term at this point, but I will say they are a show that's very much aware of the world, of the current world that we're in, and it makes commentary on it, which I enjoy. And so I really like that the Circana are doing things to basically, use their powers for actual good, because I have a feeling that the elders probably would have been like, oh, we can't interfere with, human situations and stuff like that, basically hoarding their powers for who knows whatever self-imposed rules they have on themselves of telling themselves they're keeping the balance. So once again, 10 more extra points for Circana. And Mel pretty much revealed her not so incognito infiltration of the Circana. And then Jada pretty much told her, oh, we already knew that. We were just wondering when you were going to tell us the truth. Which once again shows, first of all, why didn't the elders figure that they would be able to know Mel's thoughts, especially if they had an empath or someone around? I mean, there was a good chance they probably would have an empath. Now, I don't know if that was just lazy writing on the writer's part when it came to that, or just the elders, like they made it so the elders were not really thinking about that, or maybe it's part of the plan of the elders pushing Mel into this in the first place. I don't know. It just seemed a little neat. Then also Nico showed up once again, introducing herself to Mel. I'll get into the ship stuff a little bit later in the video, but it was interesting. I don't think Nico is being on the up and up about who she is in relation to Jada. I think maybe Nico is definitely a PI, but I think it's not some idea of saving Jada, because when Mel told Jada about it later, she was like, yeah, that was my ex, and someone sent them to look after you or something, and Jada just was simply like, oh, that was my parents. But okay, didn't Jada say that she was a white lighter and half witch? So why would her parents, who clearly are like supernatural beings, send a regular PI to look after her? Are they not aware of the Circana? Are they not aware of what Jada's doing? That doesn't really, did that make sense? Am I missing something? Did I miss something where Jada was like, I was adopted by regular people who don't know what I am? Okay, so discord with the sisters, the DNA, and the revelation of Macy. Okay, so Macy basically straight up did a solid for the other two sisters by not keeping it to herself about their DNA and wanting to tell them, the fact that her and Maggie are actually the full sisters and Mel's the half sister. And so I don't know. I felt some type of way about that scene between the three of them, because I felt like they kind of went after Macy way too quickly. I mean, I know it was a bombshell. I know it's this idea of Maggie being like, man, our father has already been kind of an absentee dad, and on top of that, he's not even my biological dad. But the way they were kind of getting on Macy, like, oh my gosh, you're so socially awkward that you didn't know how to tell us that. How else is she supposed to tell you? I'm not exactly sure how one drops something like that gently. Like I said, Mel has been growing on me, but there are times when she's kind of my least favorite sister. I will admit that, because she can just be so abrasive, and it's like, she's getting on Macy talking about, oh my gosh, how did you drop that not so gently? When Mel is like the epitome of not saying things gently. So I definitely understood why there would be some kind of animosity in a way. And I'm glad that later on, when they had to perform the spell on the Maestro of Sirens, that Mel admitted that she was taking out her anger that she felt towards her mother on Macy at that moment. So I kind of forgave Mel, because I'm like, okay, so I wasn't the only one that figured that your anger was misplaced. Thanks. I also want to say, given my last review, that I was completely right about my theory. Yeah, I was right. But yeah, I was right. What I had said the last episode was that my thought process was that Macy and Maggie's dad was the one that their mother really loved. And they hooked up, they broke up, and you know what it is. Sometimes you can't really get over your ex and they come back around because nothing's final until, death or whatever, right? So they came back around and had another affair while their mom was with Mel's dad, and that's when she got pregnant with Maggie and basically passed it off as Mel's father's child. I don't think how Maggie and Macy ended up being related was really something that was like how. I think it was pretty obvious the how. I think what it was the idea that there was this secret affair still going on, and why, as Macy brought up, couldn't they be together? Like, clearly Macy's mom and Macy's dad really still loved each other. So it's kind of like, why did they break up? I think that's really the mystery, right? Although now that it's kind of like we know the dad Dexter was not necessarily an evil guy, so it's like, what is that darkness with Macy? Which brings us to the revelation that Macy... I'm laughing because, oh my gosh, these sisters be going through it when it comes to the revelations about their lives. And how do you deal with the fact that you're reading love letters between your parents and you're like, oh my gosh, our parents are so like star-crossed lovers, oh my gosh. And then it's like, oh yeah, by the way, how will Macy ever forgive us for bringing her back from the dead? I think we all assumed at the time that Macy's darkness or whatever it was in connection to her dad. But now, if Macy died, then maybe the darkness is connected to the fact that she was brought back from the dead. That's my theory, and I've been right so far, so maybe I'm right with this. But I'm really interested in how this is going to go. Like, what was the trade-off? Why wouldn't Macy forgive them for bringing her back from the dead? Wouldn't someone be happy that you went and got them from the dead? How did Macy die in the first place? Harry... oh my gosh, Harry. Oh my gosh. Okay, so Harry was a little distant from the girls this episode because he's clearly, keeping a secret from them. Clearly, he did not tell them that he used to have a child. He really didn't say anything to them about what he went through in Tartarus, which is unfortunate a little bit because they seem very forthcoming with him, and he didn't want, even though he loves them, he didn't feel like sharing with them. And then, he explains to Charity that he just feels like he's tainted at this point and he can't kind of let go of his past. But then it's kind of like, what, is he going to try to go after his son? I don't see Harry actually leaving. I think this is just kind of a conundrum of him needing to realize that he needs to be with the sisters. Macy and Galvin. All right. They were such great friends this episode. Oh my gosh. Such besties. I see two people that really connect in a sense of respect, mutual respect for each other. It's nice, it's quaint, it's normal, and maybe that's why Macy feels some type of way of going towards Galvin because, man, as we saw in this episode, she just keeps getting these revelations about her life and who she is that maybe Galvin is so normal that she's attracted to the normalcy that he exudes a lot of the time because he's, like I said, a regular dude. I don't know. I don't think Macy's really thinking this through because by Galvin knowing about this stuff, she is putting him at risk, right? And they never really talked about that whole thing about, yes, his mark was removed, but we never even dug into why it was there in the first place and why she was the one being affected by it. So we're just going to forget about it because it's not there anymore. Also, I think, it was nice that Macy had someone else to talk to, but this just goes to show, it's kind of like with Maggie and Lucy, Maggie needing that friend outside of the girls to confide in. Macy clearly needed a friend outside of the girls to confide in, and that was Galvin, but not to me in a romantic sense. Although it was nice that he was there for her, and he really seemed to get what she was going through, but like I said, it came off like friendship more than a romance to me. I really like Jada and Mel. I think they are doing really well for themselves still. I like that Mel is being so forthcoming with Jada, something that she wasn't necessarily with Nico. when it came to things. That was one of the reasons why she ended up having to wipe Nico's memory and stuff, because she just wasn't kind of willing to let her in on the secret of what was going on, and she wanted to keep her safe. And with Jada, you know, it helps that Jada is like a white lighter and witch, because Jada can take care of herself. So I think that's one of the reasons why Mel is like, okay, this can work, because you can protect yourself if something goes down. So I like their chemistry. I still do wonder about Jada's full story. I don't think she's going to be evil, at least I hope not. But it did seem a little too neatly packaged that Jada was just so understanding about Mel being undercover. Jada was just like, oh, those were my parents. It just seems a little too convenient. So I'm kind of waiting for the other shoe to drop. But I did like their romance this episode. Harry and Charity. Harity, is that their name? Like I said, Charity was being very affectionate, but Harry had his mind somewhere else, which to me just once again shows it's not a passionate love story between them, just like with Macy and Galvin. And yes, I am partial a bit to the idea of Harry and Macy getting together, but it's because I see the plot line there. I see the basis for having some sort of passionate star-crossed love affair, which, yeah, this is a melodrama supernatural show. That's the kind of ships we should be getting, right? We're gonna kill it. Which only reason why I like that line was because it was kind of funny, because Mr. Veranda was really talking about, oh, if you want to join the choir, because I think we're going to kill it, when he's really talking about the audience. Ha. Okay, so my predictions are basically that we're going to find out that Nico isn't just trying to infiltrate, finding out what's going on with Jada for her parents. I think there's something deeper than that going on. I also think that Harry isn't really going to leave the girls. Okay, so what did you think of this episode of Charmed? Did you like it? Did you dig it? Were you digging the ships? Were you like to see another kind of ship? What do you think is going to go on with Macy and the girls? Let me know. Comment down below. Let me know your thoughts. And also, be sure to subscribe so that you are the first to know when I post my videos of all things horror and dark fantasy. Thanks for watching. Let's get creepy together.